Hello everyone, welcome to another Daily Gym. Today is Monday, January 13th, 2025, and today I want to talk about powerful is to loving as standing out is to fitting in. Now, maybe you won't recognize the title, but I'm going to use the SAT analogy format. Anyways, that's a side note. But this idea about powerful is to loving as standing out is to fitting in, I have been struggling whether to define this new work that I'm doing, this new focus, and whether to call it financial love or financial power. Do we give financial love to people or financial power to people? And this new initiative is called Leading Hearts Fund. You can find it at leadinghearts.fund. If you go to the website www.leadinghearts.fund. And the whole idea behind the principle is, how do we take people who are leading society towards more openness, towards more love, towards more unity, towards more conflict resolution, whatever you call it, emotional expression, leading in that direction, pulling society in that direction. How do we help these people do it? How do we make sure that they not only stay in those positions, kind of on the leading edge, but so that they have more ability to pull us in that direction? And so I've been going back and forth between financial love and financial power. What do we give to these people? It's not just money, because there's something beneath the money. How we get the money matters, and the amount of money that maybe the amount of money we get matters too. But it's like, what do we do with the money matters? Maybe that's that. How we get the money matters. How we receive the money matters, and how we give the money matters, and where we give it to. And so I've been really going back and forth between financial love and financial power. And one of the things I'm personally worried about for other people in this space is, like, I think we often have this hidden assumption that if you're trying to do quote unquote good in the world, you should be a bit poor or just normal. Just be normal. You can't be rich. You can't have too much, because if you have too much money, or if you have too nice of a car, or maybe you have a nice watch, or you have something that people could consider extravagant or superfluous, then you're not really doing good for the world. That inherent to doing good for the world is like either just being completely average, or being much below average when it comes to the amenities that you have, the tools that you have in your life. Now, I find this to be in contrast with people who are actually supposed to make a huge change in the world sometimes, because yes, maybe it's possible to make a huge change when you take a vow of poverty. But sometimes a vow of poverty means you don't have access to really powerful tools. Sometimes these tools can really make a difference. So if, for example, I take a vow of poverty and I don't have, if I want transport, I have to walk everywhere. Well, walking is very slow. Now, there's many things I can accomplish through walking, and perhaps you could argue slowing down is really important. But sometimes it's nice to have the really powerful jet, so you can go from one place to another. Or if you're in a jet, you could sleep, so you could have a bed. So being in first class versus being in economy class. But there's this kind of oh no, you shouldn't be above us. You shouldn't be different than us. You should either be at our level or you should be below. And so that's why I started thinking, it's so if I'm trying to do quote unquote good for the world, am I never going to have a nice house or have a nice car, or be able to take a vacation without people saying, oh, you're wasting so much money on vacation, you don't need that vacation? Am I not going to be able to go to some of the nicer places or have some of the nicer foods because of how people will look at it? And I imagine there are many other people who are in similar situations to me, who are well, I really care about society, I really care about humans, I really want to help shift culture in this direction, but man, I want to have a nice meal and not be judged for having a nice meal. I want to treat myself. I want to give love to myself too. I don't want to sacrifice everything and burn out, really. So I don't know. I think sometimes this idea of love is about fitting in. It's about having close relationships. It's about being on the same level with other people. It is a great equalizer in a way when we fall in love, especially we see the human in ourselves and we see the human in the other person. And so much of my life and work has been about that. How do we see the human in someone else and recognize that they're just as human, just as feeble as we are? They're trying their best. They don't know what they're doing. But in contrast, the idea of power sometimes is standing out. And I think about it in terms of watching sports games. Sometimes teams equalize, The Detroit Lions, American football team back in the day, they would almost always have a very close game. But this year, they seem to be beating teams by a lot. And I think sometimes it can be really hard to be the person who wins by a lot. I think often we want to fit in. We want to say, listen, I'm just as human as you are. I'm not any better than you are. Because some people say, oh, you think you're better than us? No, I don't think I'm better than you. I'm just as human as you are. But there is this caveat. I do believe I'm just as human as you are, but in some aspects of life, I know I am much better at doing this specific thing than you are. I know. I feel very, very confident I have more skills in this area than most people do. And I believe many of us are like that. And I think this is that fundamental tension for a lot of people who are trying to be in leadership. It's like being far out ahead where people think you're a superstar, or as one friend tells me, he's like, dude, you're an alien. Like, what are you doing with all these humans? In terms of how much I can forgive and love and be compassionate towards people. But at the same time, so it's like standing out, but also fitting in and trying to do that tension. And so maybe it's a balance of love and power, that we want the person to be similar to us, but we also want them to stand out. And so I say this in terms of the Leading Hearts Fund, because I'm trying to figure out, how do we get leaders who almost are willing to stand out? I think a lot of leaders who tend to be really loving don't want to stand out. But a lot of leaders who tend to be really powerful don't want to fit in. No, I'm so different than everyone. No, you're not. You're actually quite similar. But then a lot of us who are really good at, again, the humanizing, being like, no, but I'm just like you. I'm so similar to you. And they're like, dude, you're also really freaking different. No, I'm not that different. So I think there's this fundamental tension of kind of standing out and fitting in, or power and love. And I think for me, I think I'm really, 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 really good at the loving side and recognizing that, like, hey, I'm just like everyone else. And what I want to practice, and I imagine a lot of other people who are good at that side might want to practice, is how to stand out. So maybe it is not necessarily giving more love, more financial love to people who are really loving. Maybe it's giving more financial power. Maybe it's not just financial power. Maybe it's about giving more power, telling people, hey, we want you to be powerful. We want you to stand out because you stand out. So here, just stand out. We're not trying to make you like us. You are different. You are born to lead, or you have it in you. We don't have it. You have the courage. You have so many factors that we don't have, and we need someone like you to do it. Stop trying to fit in. Be the star. So I'm going to play with it. I think the language may go more towards that. Finding leaders who are really good at loving and connecting with people and telling and trying to lift them up and push them to stand out and be the star and lead from the front, really far in the front, which is a really hard tension. But man, how much could we accomplish in this world if we had leaders who maintain that love, who thought that they were just as loving, just one of the gang, one of the bunch, yet we believe that they are unique individuals that are pulling society forward and closer together. So thanks for that. Talk with you all tomorrow.